The story begins in the outskirts of Tokyo in the year 2021, where we can see a small child walking in a base camp and a lot of people have taken shelter here. The city of Tokyo is going through an apocalypse caused by giant monsters Gastrea, who have destroyed most of the country. Suddenly a Gastrea attacks the camp, which was shot by missiles and knocked out right before the small child Satomi Rentaro. He raises his head and finds the Gastrea is about to attack him. Just then he hears a voice, "If you do not wish to die, fight on, Rentaro." Fast forward to 10 years, we see Rentaro riding his bicycle to an apartment, where he meets a police officer Tatashima. Rentaro is now a civil service officer working for Tendo Civil Service Agency. The officer first doubts him, saying he is just a kid, but after seeing his ID he clears him and they both go to the 4th floor, where the officer believes is the presence of a Gastrea. The officers questions him about his partner, as civil officers work in pair, to which he replies that he doesn't need her for a small job like this one. But the reality is he threw her off the bicycle while on their way. When they arrive they meet 3 police officers, of which one inform that 2 officers entered the room some time back and haven't come back yet. Rentaro enters the room and he finds 2 police officers dead and a masked man. Upon knowing that he killed the 2 officers, Rentaro attacks him, but the masked man is able to block all of this attacks and blows him a hard punch. The masked man then attends a call from Koina. At the same time some police officers enter the room and they all get shot by the masked man. Then we see a small girl, Enju Aihara, complaining how Rentaro threw her away while on the bicycle. She then meets an injured man and realizes he is about to turn into a Gastrea. He transforms into a big spider and throws Enju away. Rentaro then arrives at the scene along with Tatashima, who starts shooting the spider. Then Rentaro tells him only vibranium bullets can harm a Gastrea, and shoots a bullet right into the spider's eye. Enju then returns back and kicks the spider, destroying it into many pieces. She then makes her introduction, who is Rentaro's initiator and he is her promoter. She says that she is going to marry him one day. The police officers then talk about Enju, who is one of the cursed children, and he has the power to save the world from Gastrea. They then report the fight to their senior Kasara Tendo, who is very angry at him, because he forgot to take payment from the client to attend his sale. Rentaro then goes to meet his teacher Sumire Moroto and they both talk about the Gastrea virus. Rentaro then returns home and makes some tasty dishes with beans. After that Enju offers to sleep him, which he refuses. The next day he drops her school, and on his way he thinks about how the Gastrea has brought so much destruction to humanity, and humanity's last hope is the cursed children who can fight against the Gastrea, but are hated because of having Gastrea's blood in them. Later Kasara informs him that they have been called for a meeting by Lady Saitenshi, but upon arrival he gets into a fight with a higher rank promoter Shogun Ikuma, which is soon resolved. Then Lady Saitenshi gives them orders to kill a certain Gastrea and obtain a certain briefcase. Kasara questions Saitenshi about what is in the case, but she refuses to answer. The masked man then enters the meeting out of nowhere along with his daughter Koina. He threatens to destroy Tokyo by using the inheritance of the 7 stars present in the briefcase. All the civil officers then try to shoot him, but he blocks it all with his invisible wall. He then shoots back the bullets at the officers and runs away. Lady Saitenshi then orders every officer to obtain the case before Kajitane Hiruko, the masked man. After that Rentaro and Enju are having a walk in the street, where they are encountered with a thief who is a cursed child. The police caught her and took her away, which made Enju very sad. She asks Rentaro why didn't he save her. Rentaro then chases the officers alone, but he finds out they took her to an abandoned site, and shot bullets into her instead of taking her into custody. He is very sad as he couldn't save the girl, but she came back to life, thanks to her Gastrea power, and he then takes her to a doctor and saves her life, costing him his month expense. Coming back he meets Kajitane, who offers him a bag full of money to join him, but he refuses and gets into a fight. Later Kajitane threatens him to go to school tomorrow. The next day Rentaro gets a call from the school that the students now know that Enju is a cursed child, because of which they are frightened of her, so she went back home. He rushes home for her but is shocked to see that she is not at home. He then visits 39th district in search of Enju, where he meets Matsuzaki, who takes care of many cursed children. He tells him that he has not seen her and Rentaro should not be worried about an initiator, because they are easily replaceable, to which Rentaro loses his mind and gets really angry. Later he comes back to his senses, apologizes and leaves. Enju was right there. She listens to everything and gets really emotional and happy at the same time. The next day Enju arrives at her school, where everyone is terrified of seeing her, but then Rentaro arrives and tries to calm her. A helicopter comes at the school, which was hired by Kasara, as they now set on to their next job, which is to kill the spider and take the briefcase. They find the spider, after which Enju at once jumps out of the plane and starts attacking the spider. Rentaro also jumps out, and on landing he finds out Enju had already killed the spider. They were on their way to retrieve the case, but out of nowhere Kajitane arrived along with Koina and they both got in a fight. Kajitane and Koina overpowers them, and on seeing a low chance of winning, Rentaro orders Enju to run away. Kajitane then shoots Rentaro and leaves him to die. Later Rentaro opens his eyes in a hospital and sees Kasara beside him, and Enju was sleeping next to him waiting for him to get up. Kasara then tells Rentaro that Kajitane is about to bring back one of the 5-level Gastrea, which can destroy the whole city. He then gets up and is on his way to stop Kajitane, where Maroto Sumire gives him off drugs with intense regeneration power, which also has chances of taking his life. He then meets up with Enju and they both head out to fight Kajitane. They are dropped in a forest where they meet a girl, Ko Senju, who is the initiator of a shogun whom he met earlier. The girl was injured, so Rentaro bandages her and talks to her about the bombs which were used earlier. While Enju in the back getting jealous, Rentaro and Enju then go to continue their fight with Kajitane, leaving her behind, as she wanted to stay back and keep the rest of the Gastrea away. Both of them then find all the civil officers dead and Shogun walking towards them with a sword stuck to his back. Kahoni is really surprised seeing Rentaro alive, and again they continue their fight. Rentaro breaks through his barrier and introduces himself as the new humanity creation plan, and his body parts are also replaced by vibranium. Kajitane then blows a hole through Rentaro's stomach, who was trying to save Enju from his bullets. Rentaro now is on his knees awaiting his death, but snaps back when he hears Enju crying for him to come back. He takes out his off drugs and somehow manages to survive. He then continues his fight and lands a hard punch and a kick to Kajitane, leading him to fall in the river, while his initiator crying behind. Kasara then calls Rentaro saying she has bad news that the level 5 Gastrea has awakened, and is now going to destroy Tokyo. Kasara then suggests Rentaro to use the Haven's Ladder, as it is the only weapon able to kill a level 5 Gastrea. Enju and Rentaro are now inside the tower, but the machine shows some irregularities and Rentaro finds out that it is missing a shell, so he breaks his arm as it is made of vibranium and uses it to restart the machine. Kasara then tells Rentaro to manually aim for the Gastrea, to which he becomes extremely nervous and horrified, but Enju calms him down by saying that he is not alone and she will always be on his side. She shoots the missile towards the Gastrea, which blows into several pieces. Rentaro then leaves the tower to find that all the Gastrea are dead, and Ko is lying injured with a Gastrea developing through her hands. She then requests Rentaro to kill her before she turns into a monster, and also suggests to always listen to his heart. Rentaro then shoots Ko, and then helicopters come for their dispatch as they return back home. Rentaro then visits his childhood mentor Kikunojo Tendo. He accuses him for leaking the information of the case to Kajitane, and for attempting to summon a level 5 Gastrea, just because he wanted to stop the new Gastrea law which provides equal rights to the cursed children. But Rentaro doesn't shoot him and leaves because he can't kill the person who once gave meaning to his life and helped him move forward. The next day Enju and Rentaro are training, where Enju kicks Rentaro and blocks his shots, but then Rentaro advises her not to kick high in skirts. Kasara then assigns Rentaro her next job, which is to be the bodyguard of Lady Saitenshi. He then visits Saitenshi and tells her that he is still not sure about the job and leaves. While going back he lost his way, to which the lady's bodyguards caught him and they threatened him to not take this job. Then he threatened them back and they all run away. Now he informs the guard that he is taking this job and starts walking away. On his way back he finds some guys threatening a small child as her cycle stomps on his foot. Rentaro then comes for her and takes her to safety, where he asks her about her identity. The girl says her name is Tina Sprout and acts really strange. She then exchanges numbers with him and leaves, while also requesting for a second meetup. At night Rentaro hears a doorbell and to his surprise Miori and Kasara both visit him, hungry and unwell, falling on top of each other. Miori then introduced herself as the daughter of the president of Shiba Heavy Weapons Company, who provides weapons for Rentaro. She then clings to Rentaro, seeing which Kasara is really jealous and both start a fight with each other. The next day Rinatro takes the job of the bodyguard, and along with Lady Saitenshi they go for a meeting with President Saitaki. Rentaro warns Saiteshi of Saitaki's character. In the meeting Rentaro and Saitaki have a small debate and then Saitaki tells about his plan, how he is going to make Tokyo a glorifying nation again and be the ruler of it. After the meeting Rinatro and Saichi along with Enju are traveling in their car, where he advises her on how she should be a good leader and take decisions for betterment of the nation. Suddenly a sniper bullet hits the car, but Rentaro saves Saitenshi and takes her to a safe location. The sniper was none other than Tina Sprout, who is assigned by Rand for the job of assassination of Lady Saitenshi. The next day Tina calls Rentaro to meet her and he shows up with some food. But she adds caffeine tablets to it, because she is a night person and can't stay active in the daytime. Seeing her unable to eat properly, he himself feeds her and she feels really happy. She then talks about how she lost her parents and is all alone, and Rentaro is the only one who has shown affection towards her. She then leaves in a hurry to attend the call from her boss Rand. Rentaro then visits Miori to get information about the sniper which attacked them last night. Kasara however is very angry at the fact that they both are having a private chat, where she isn't involved. Miori then claims that the attack last night was initiated by Saitaki, and Rentaro requests her to get information about the sniper. Miori agrees but on condition that he has to show his love towards her. Kasara then breaks open the door to find both of them really close to each other. Miori then lies to make Kasara jealous by saying Rentaro has promised her that he is going to love her, if she gives her body to him. Later Moroto laughs at Rentaro for this incident, and tells him to man up and to boldly convey his feelings towards Kasara. Kasara is now sitting in her office really angry with Rentaro, when out of nowhere Tina enters the room and starts shooting Kasara. She saves herself and proceeds to attack Tina but fails and Tina now chokes her. When Rentaro arrives and starts attacking Tina, they both face each other and are both heartbroken. Kasara then uses her sword skills and cuts the office in half, but Tina runs away and Kasara loses her conscious. So Rentaro takes her to the hospital. He then continues his job as bodyguard for Lady Saitenshi, and proposes a new plan for her safety, to which the other bodyguard is very angry on him for this. Suddenly a soldier gets sniped and Rentaro runs with Saichi in her car into a parking place, where she is safe. Rentaro then sends Enju to catch Tina but Saichi gives him really bad news. Tina is actually ranked 98 and Enju will get killed if she fights her. Rentaro calls her and orders her to retreat but she doesn't respond back, to which he realizes that Tina has caught her. Rentaro along with Kasara both run to the hospital to meet Enju, where he finds her lying on the bed unconscious. The doctor then tells him that she has been given a heavy dose of anesthesia and will come back to senses after 2 days. Kasara then reminds Rentaro that Lady Saichi and Saitaki have their last meeting, so he has to attend that and be her bodyguard. He then takes a bath and recalls what the police who were investigating the scene told him. Enju was shot from 4 different locations by some strange drones, and Shiba heavy weapons are given the task to inspect them. He then visits Moroto Sumire who tells him that the drones had thought-driven interface Shenfield, and is controlled by neurochip implanted in the brain. She then adds that one can control 3 drones at a time and also warns Rentaro to not fight Tina, as the ones ranked under 100 are monsters and he will lose his life doing so. Rentaro then demands a favor from Miori, and he trains against some computer snipers as he plans to take on Tina Sprout. Miori gets really impressed by his high computer power vibranium eyes. After the fight Miori tells him that his power level is 2200% but pretty less compared to Tina, who is at approx over 12,900%. Here Rand commands Tina to complete the assassination at any cost, and to kill anyone who comes between the mission. Rentaro then comes to an abandoned building, on top of which is Tina hiding to kill Saitenshi. The fight starts and Tina shoots at Rentaro, but the bullet hits his vibranium leg and he then hides inside another building. A drone comes flying towards him but he destroys it. Then he gets a call from Miori and she tells him the whole building is surrounded by 5 material rifles, and Tina is controlling them all at once. She confirms the target's location with her drone. She fires the rifle at them. Out of nowhere a drone comes near and locates him, but she dunges and saves himself. He is now climbing the building after destroying the other 2 drones. Tina lands on him from the top floor and they both are now fighting manually. But there was a 4th drone. Rentaro tries using a flangbang which does not work and Tina corners him. He now questions Tina why she kills people, and miraculously the flashbang explodes blinding Tina for a sec. Rentaro then takes the initiative and starts attacking Tina, eventually knocking her down. Tina then asks him to kill her but Rentaro refuses, because she could have killed Enju, but she left her alive and thanked Tina for that. He carries Tina and on his way back, suddenly the Queen's Guard arrives and shoots Tina. They hold Rentaro and he is helpless. The lady then arrives and gives Rentaro rank 300 and special powers, using which he takes revenge on the Queen's Guard. The next day he visits his office where he is shocked to see Tina, as Kasara appoints her as a member for their agency. Rentaro now decides to become a teacher for the students in the 39th district, where Enju can also study. All the students get really excited seeing him and are really happy. He introduces himself and all the students start asking him pretty strange questions. Then Kasara also introduces herself as their second teacher. Now Rentaro is teaching class when Lady Saitenshi arrives there, But she has really bad news. The 32nd Monolith, which is a big wall made up of vibranium to protect Tokyo from Gastrea, has started to collapse, and a level 4 Gastrea Aldebaran is responsible for that. She gives Rentaro the instructions to make a team which will fight against the Gastrea after the wall has fallen, as it will take them 3 days to make a new wall. After returning home, he sees Enju and Tina cosplaying Tenchu girls, and that Tina will be staying the night at their house. Tina wakes Rentaro in the middle of night and they have a small chat. Rentaro explains how he first became a civil officer because of his hatred towards the Gastrea, but now things have changed. Tina claims that she will always be on his side and will never leave him. After that they slept. Later in the morning, Kasara arrives to take Tina back, where she finds Rentaro and Tina sleeping together. Then Tina says some really sussy things like, "Brother, last night was awesome and I was scared at first but was okay later," which made a really bad scenario for Rentaro. Tina and Rentaro then go out to find partners for their team, where he meets a small blind child begging money. The child says that her mother hated those red eyes, so she poured lead in them. Rentaro gives her money and requests her not to come back here for some days. They both then visit the home of an old friend, Tamaki Katagiri, and his initiator Yuzuki Katagiri, who for some reason dislikes Rentaro and calls him a pervert. Rentaro explains the whole situation, but he refuses to take the job, which later leads into a duel, where Rentaro and Tina beat the Katagiri, and this leads them to join their team. After that they both visit Maroto, who tells Tina some absurd lies about Rentaro, like him stealing the stool of girls. Later Tina says that she will be a problem for Rentaro and others, as Rand will come in search of her. Rentaro calms her down and promises to always stay by her side and protect her. After that Maroto warns Rentaro how only a minority of the people believe that cursed children are also humans. Rentaro believes he will change the world and will make it free from Gastrea, so people can forget their past and move on. Rentaro and Enju are now in the camp, where many teams have joined along with them to fight the Gastrea. But what surprises him is when he meets his old senior Shuma Nagisawa. He got into a fight with a promoter who challenged him to a duel. Shuma along with his partner easily finishes the fight. Then Rentaro approaches him and requests him to join his team. Shuma accepts, but then Rentaro asks him a question. Why did he left the dojo a few years back? He replies he wasn't meant for the dojo and instead decided to become a civil officer. Later everyone gathers for a team meeting where Shuma's initiator Fuse Midori introduces herself as a cat girl, as her mother was infected by an animal Gastrea. Rentaro believes he has a strong team but needs one last pair. Kiasa then arrives and suggests she will team up with Tina and will become the last pair he needs. Rentaro refuses her offer as he cares about her and her dialysis problem, which happened to her when she was attacked by a Gastrea in her childhood. After having a quarrel, Rentaro finally takes her in. They later are called for a meeting of all teams, and the one leading all of them, Nagamasa Gadu. Gadu gives a fine speech which fires up all the officers. But Rentaro questions him if the JSDF, who are the military fighting in the front, are really going to ask for help. Later Rentaro and Kasara have a chat where he questions Kasara if she really is serious about fighting, to which she confirms and also becomes sad, because Rentaro risks his life every time and she can't help him in any way. Rentaro then remembers Maroto's words and tries to convey his feelings towards Kasara, but everyone interrupts the moment. Later they cheer for their new team and everyone lays their trust on their leader Rentaro Satomi. The next day Rentaro and Kasara conduct a test for their students, where they have to write about their dreams. Matsuzaki thanks them for doing this for his children. When Enju completes her paper, she writes about her dream of marrying Rentaro and kissing him every day. Later Tina also does the same thing and he gets really frustrated by these girls. Rentaro then takes the girls on a trip to the Flames of Return. In the past there were two big battles against the Gastrea in Tokyo. The second battle of Kanto was fought from the Flames of Return. He also tells them about the Jinan festival, where people set sparky balloons to fly in the sky to honor the death of the soldiers, who lost their lives in the second fight. The children then have small meeting, after which they approve Rentaro as their teacher, and some of them tells him that they want to marry him. They get on top of him, to which he falls and all of them have a great laugh. Later in the night Rentaro and Kasara visit the Monolith, to which Rentaro doubts that the material used in making the Monolith had a problem. The next day the people of Kanto get the information about the Monolith corrosion and they all start to flee the area. Rentaro, as he is walking by, finds the same blind girl at the same place getting beaten up by a mob. He steps in and stops them from going any further. After returning to his camp, Kasara receives the info about the Monolith construction, which was made by none other than her big brother Tendo Kazumitsu. Enju and Rentaro then leave for school while leaving Tina and Kasara behind as they were sleeping. After they reach the school he gets shocked and emotional at the same time. Some people who hated the cursed children dropped bombs on the area and killed all the girls. He goes to confirm their bodies and sobs at their death. He stops Enju from seeing the bodies, but she pushes her way in and starts crying after seeing all the bodies of her dead friends. Rentaro then goes to the roof and sees through all the papers where they wrote about their dream in life. One wanted to become a teacher, another to own a candy store, and the other to be a bride, a florist, and then all the papers fly away and he sits there depressed. Kasara calls him and tries to calm him, when suddenly the monolith falls one day early because of the strong winds. He grabs Enju and they both now once again have to fight with Gastrea. All the troops are now prepared for the Gastrea attack. The JSDF are defeated and now it's up to them to stop the Gastrea. Rentaro and his team sees that some of the Gastrea have detached from their team, so if they flank them they are gone. Rentaro then violates the rules and commands his team to kill all the Gastrea detached. They kill them all and return back to find many of their comrades have died. Rentaro tells Hidehiko to command everyone to fall back, but Hidehiko is horrified and tells him that they had no chance in the fight, because the Spear of Light, a strong light which destroys everything in its way. Then the Spear of Light can be seen and Hidehiko falls off the cliff in the hands of the Gastrea and dies. Later Rentaro visits all the wounded soldiers, where Enju and Kasara are also helping. Moroto also visits them and helps the wounded. When she was given a flight to flee the country, because she is Japan's greatest brain, but she decided to stay and cheer for them. Rentaro then gets a call from Gadu. He tells him that he fought Aldebaran but it had intense regeneration power and Gado lost a leg. Also the Spear of Light is due to the presence of another Gastrea Pleiades. Gadu also asks him about his son Hidehiko and if he fought bravely. At last Gadu gave him a punishment for disobeying the orders of the senior. He gave him two choices. Either his team backs off from the mission and they will be punished later by the government, or he alone goes to fight and destroy Pleiades. Rentaro is left with no choice, so the next day he is now on his own to fight Pleiades. Kasara tries to stop him but he didn't listen to her. On his way he is chased by some wolf Gastrea. He gets injured and falls into a river. When he gets up he finds himself surrounded by Gastrea. He feels very helpless, but out of nowhere Kajitane arrives and kills all the Gastrea, saving Rentaro. Later Kajitane gave him bandage and medicines, but Rentaro cannot trust him as he keep his gun pointed towards Kajitane. Kajitane assures him that he won't harm him and will instead help him defeat Pleiades. The next day they find Pleiades who is sleeping, and can be destroyed if a punch is blown into his stomach and destroy it. Kajitane offers for help and they both destroy Pleiades into many pieces, but then all the Gastrea sleeping next to it awakes and are not about to kill them. They both run back and again Kajitane helps Rentaro and they successfully escape. He returns back to base, where he meets Enju and Kasara who are really happy to see him again. He gets the information that Gadu died in the fight, so as the one with the highest rank after Gado, Rentaro is elected as the commander for the rest of the fight. Rentaro then comes out to find Kategon and all the others surrounding them. Kajitane then introduces him as Rentaro's ally and Rentaro tells everyone how he was saved by Kajitane. He tells everyone to stop fighting and all should together fight to defeat the Gastrea. Shuma now comes and gives bad news to Rentaro. Fuse was attacked by a Gastrea and her corrosion rate has exceeded 50%. Before she turns into a Gastrea she has to be killed. Being the team leader Rentaro himself goes, where Fuse lies on the bed and says how she can sense everybody's emotions, and how she is smelling confusion from Rentaro. She then goes for the toilet but Rentaro realizes something fishy, she has run away. Everyone is now searching for Fuse, when Rentaro and Shuma find her body in front of a tree, who has shot herself as she didn't want to be a burden for the team. Shuma tells Rentaro to keep it a secret and to tells everyone that Fuse ran away. Later in his speech Rentaro saw all the guys fearing the Gastrea, so he attacks the guy who wanted to leave and warned everyone that whoever tries to leave dies. Kasara then argues with Rentaro that this is too much, but Rentaro explains to her that everyone was fearing the Gastrea, so now the only one they'll be fearing is him. Also that time Soma teams up with Gadu's initiator Asaka Maibu, as they both have lost their comrade in the same day. Rentaro then calls Miori for weapons which can be used to destroy Aldebaran. She tells them that Aldebaran forces will arrive in half a day and she has a special bomb, pyrotic bomb, which is 20 times stronger than the 500-pound bombs earlier used on him. But there's a catch to it. The bomb has to blast inside his body. So first you have to blast a hole in Aldebaran and place the bomb inside him. After he regenerates the bomb goes off and destroys him. The role of blowing a hole in his stomach is given to Rentaro. They name the plan as Rapier's Last and set a new location to fight Flame of Return. After they reach there, he sees Enju really sad and remembers the time he spent with his students at the Flame of Return. Enju tells him that she is confused for whom they are fighting. To which Rentaro replies, let's finish our fight here, and later we'll decide if fighting for people like this is really worth it or not. Everyone is now ready for the battle and are waiting for batteries, so they can use the light and fight at night. But the one bringing the batteries was the ladies' guard, and to take his revenge on Rentaro he throws all the batteries at a lake. Everyone is now worried because the batteries haven't arrived and the Gastrea are approaching them. Suddenly a few hundred glowing balloons are seen in the sky. It is the Genin festival and Lady Saitonshi made to happen, so that Rentaro and the others can continue their fight. Rentaro along with others now proceed to attack Aldebaran, and everyone is helping him, getting him closer to Aldebaran, including his team and even Kajitane. After reaching close to him, Inzu kicks Aldebaran. Rentaro then goes on top of him, but he attacks him with his spikes, which Rentaro dodges and blows a punch, creating a hole, where he places the bomb and runs away along with Inzu. But unfortunately the bomb fails to explode, and Miori now suggests that pressure has to be applied to bomb to make it explode, which can only be done at point zero. Rentaro bids Inzu farewell, but she refuses, so he knocks her out and is now on his way. Then Aldebaran throws his poison and destroys Rentaro's vibranium legs. Shuma now comes for help and takes Rentaro away. He suggests that he will activate the bomb as destroying from inside is his style. Rentaro tries to stop him but couldn't. Shuma delivers his powerful punch and the bomb explodes, destroying both Aldebaran and Shuma. When Rentaro comes back to his senses he sees Inzu right beside him and everyone else and a lot of comrades dead. Later Kasara along with others meets her brother Kazumishu, and confronts him for diluting the vibranium with other ingredients with construction of the Monolith 32. They both then have a duel in which Kasara cuts her brother's leg and questions him about their parents' death. He tells the truth that he and his other brothers killed them, because they were about to expose the dark truths about the Tendo family to the world. She then leaves the room along with others, when suddenly her brother's body explodes. She had actually made a cut which was unnoticed earlier and is now very happy that she finally took her revenge. Rentaro then tries to explain to Kasara that what she is doing is wrong, but Kasara tells him that she holds evil and will do anything to get her revenge. Rentaro then warns Inzu and Tina that he might become Kasara's enemy. At last Rentaro and Inzu are now going to the conferment ceremony of decoration at Lady Saitonshi's sacred place, where they will be congratulated. Inzu then hands him a paper with oaths on it. Number 1. You will never face an enemy alone. 2. We will do everything together. 3. Don't knock me out cold without warning. As he is about to read the 4th one, the train stops because of an accident at the 3rd district station. Rentaro then lays on Inzu's lap and starts crying. He fears that he will grow numb to all this death and suffering. He requests Inzu to always stay by his side. Inzu then promises him that they will be together until the bitter end. After this the story ends. If you have missed the last video, then definitely watch the video of the left side, like this video, subscribe to Annie's Summary, and set the notification to all for more anime recaps.